Well, good morning. My name is Matthew Atkins. I'm the Senior Financial Advisor with Clearbrook Investment Management and also a National Social Security Advisor certificate holder. We're in another wild Monday morning where the markets are jumping for some reason. Have no idea really what's driving them other than some fatigue with it going down so much. And I'm going to do something a little bit different today, and then I want to share my screen with you and talk through a few things that have been going on. So let me minimize myself here for a minute and just kind of talk to you guys about what I call What Do We Do Now Part 2. We're in an unprecedented time. The year to date has brought some incredible challenges and information to us. You know, last week we had a record number of people file for unemployment, 3.3 million people in one short week. Unprecedented amount of people. And if you're one of those people who've lost jobs, our hearts go out to you, and we hope that something turns around for you really, really quickly. Remember that unemployment numbers are lagging indicators, so what you're actually seeing is just how dramatic effect this terrible coronavirus outbreak is having on people's businesses, that 3.3 million people have had to file for unemployment. The Federal Reserve also has made no fewer than 18 significant announcements related to policy actions and affecting the economy, which that kind of activity means that there's a very, very high level of concern, not just for the present circumstances, but for how long this might last and how it's going to affect our country. There's all kinds of dire predictions. I hope you're not buying into all of them, but you're at least paying attention to what's going on. The president, of course, signed the $2 trillion economic relief package on Friday. We might talk a little bit more about that next week. But if you're a small business owner, really important that you take note of some of the opportunities available to you through the SBA to retain employees, especially if you're affected in some way negatively by this coronavirus outbreak. For those of you who are going to receive one of those stimulus checks, important time to think about what you might want to do with that money when it comes into your bank account. The past month, we've seen within the markets, the broader indices, some of the market's worst days in stock market history. That includes going back to 1929. So we saw this massive downturn take place, and then we saw this big uptick happen last week. You might ask what drove that in a week where there's 3.3 million people applying for unemployment. And the answer is probably just some seller fatigue, some people wanting to get back in and jump on the market and stuff like that. So as a result, we saw the S&P record its largest weekly jump since 2009. So pretty significant turnaround. The question is, you know, will that continue? Well, the economic news this week and next week that's going to be coming out is going to be pretty significant and may have a dramatic effect on what's going on. I have a little, graph here for you, chart. This kind of shows you the picture of what's taken place just in this year. This is the S&P 500 index, which of course you can't directly invest in, but it shows a picture of just how sharp that decline was. From top to bottom, 33.9% drop, and now it's bounced back up a little bit, but still off as of Friday by about 26%. So pretty dramatic change in the market. Here's a little brain teaser for you that I'd like you to think about for a minute. When does minus 30 plus a positive 43 equal 0? When does a minus 30 plus a positive 43 equal 0? It's an interesting question. If you don't know the answer, let me just talk to you about it real quickly here for a minute. The answer is when you have to pull funds or you panic and pull funds during a 30% decline in the markets. It takes 43% increase to get back to break even. So top to bottom in that 30% decline, if you panic and pull money out of that, or because you are pulling money from a very volatile kind of investment vehicle, and you have to pull funds to live on, that decline that you then, take in your account, that 30%, in order to get back to 0, you have to make back 43%. It's a very interesting dynamic that a lot of people don't realize. If you lose 50% in your portfolio, how do you get back to 0? You have to now make up 100% of what you have in there, 100%. So think long and hard about where you have your funds and how to deal with things right now. Okay, I want to talk to you kind of about 2 things to do in a time like this. Number 1 is this: be sure you have the funds you need to live on in some kind of secure vehicle. Very, very important. We recommend at least 6 months, maybe even a year. But if you are thinking in terms of your short-term needs is 0 to 5 years, then you want to make sure that that 5-year money is somewhere secure. I'm going to give you a little chart that you can write down and you might think about a little bit. It's called the pyramid of risk. Very, very helpful tool. Obviously, you have the high risk kinds of vehicles and you have low risk kinds of vehicles. So your high risk vehicles, investment vehicles, are things like individual stocks, individual bonds, leveraged investments, things of that nature. Why are those so high risk? Because there's no diversification built into those. And so you're literally dependent on the performance of an individual stock or an individual bond. Next down the list of kind of moving towards lower risk, you have stock funds, government bond funds, ETFs or exchange traded funds, index funds, variable annuities, things that have some diversification built into them so that that helps minimize your risk. And down at the bottom, and this is where you should be thinking in that short-term vehicle, where you have money, do you have CDs, bank deposits, money market funds, cash, government bonds, and then fixed or indexed annuities? These are things that guarantee your principal. And for those needs that you have, so that you don't have to pull money when the market's tanking and have to then make up a whole bunch more, you want to have your living expenses, your current needs in places where your principal is protected. Now, in that 0 to 5 year range, that can include some of those fixed or indexed annuities. But for the shorter term needs, 0 to 1 year maybe, the immediate kinds of things, those need to be in highly liquid, protected, principal protected vehicles. So if you don't know where those funds are, really important that you get into your account, talk to an advisor, make sure that you know where that short-term money is, so you don't have to draw from those really volatile investments during times of significant decline. Okay, the first thing, of course, was be sure you have funds and you needed some kind of a secure environment. And then the second thing I would say during right now is don't panic, stick to the plan. If you don't have a financial plan in place, or you don't know kind of how to think through what to do in a time like this, very important time to think about talking to a financial advisor. I'd be happy to meet with you or talk with you. I'll be sure that my phone number and my email address is at the bottom of the screen when we're done. Take some time to call, because right now it's a very important season to not be thinking in terms of panic. Again, we want to say to you, our hearts go out to you if you've lost your job, or if you're suffering with the coronavirus, or those you love or your friends are suffering with it. Our hearts and prayers are with you, and we hope that you're taking really good care of yourself. I want to mention one more thing, because we love to help those people who are frontliners. And so if you're one of those healthcare workers here in Whatcom County, I just want to mention again that we do still have gift cards available. It's a $15 gift card to Big Stick Barbecue Food Truck here in Bellingham. I'd love to be able to give one to you. You can go to the website on your screen right now, and you can sign up to receive that free $15 gift card, simply because we appreciate all you're doing right now. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll look forward to talking with you next week.